Sharon Peele Kennedy of Buxton shares the story of her mother moving from New York to Hatteras Island when she was 13 years old.
My mom, I think she was 13 when they came here. They had been living in New York and the Depression had hit. My grandfather was a barber and a storefront preacher.
Wow.
He had revivals. But the Depression had hit and his mother, let's see who had his aunt or his mother had the house. They had lived here. They were from Frisco. And so he brought my grandmother and his three daughters and my uncle, who was kind of out of high school at that point, here, and Stocky Midget and Anderson Midget picked them up at the ferry at Oregon Inlet and drove them down in their bus. And my grandmother was fuming because of how hot, all the sand spurs, and they got stuck. And here they left New York City with subways, taxis, meat markets, opera houses, movies, and you're coming down to Hatteras with nothing but sand dunes and sand spurs.
I can't imagine what she must have thought.
And the kid, Mr. Stocking there was standing on milk crates or soda crates to see to drive, and it was quite a bit. My mother was the only one who fell in love with it flat off the bat.
Really?
My mother thoroughly loved where her father had brought her to. My grandmother quickly grew to like it here. My two aunts did not cotton to it, and my uncle enjoyed the sportsmanship here. He loved the fishing, the surf fishing and stuff here. And my mother met my dad, and she fell right into being a Hatteras type person right off the bat. Is she really in it here well? And where the Durant Motel's at, we used to be, the old Durant station, that's where she first lived, being married to my father.
Oh, really?
My oldest brother, yeah, way out there where there were no other houses.
That was kind of on the outskirts of the village at that time?
There was the only other people were Mr. Lawrence Lee Austin and all them out at the Point.
What's the Point?
Where Raymond Austin and them lived at the Point.
Okay.
Miss Lila.
Uh-huh.
Out in that Denise Austin where they lived out, where I'm talking.
Yeah, that's called the Point.
Yeah, but there where the Durant Motel before Emily or Isabel washed it out.
Okay.
That old Coast Guard thing. She lived there because it was my grandmother's brother, Andrew Austin, who owned it. Eddie Skakel's grandfather. So
that was kind of on the outskirts of the
here
village.
she was a 15, 16-year-old girl with a newborn baby out there, and my aunts and everyone were mortified because here's this city girl, hand scrubbing clothes and clothesline, rigging chickens' necks and cooking on a wood fire. There was no electricity.